show. NES Remix review. Sean, go.
Fuck you. So NES Remix, this was actually kind of interesting because there was like a special bonus stage. You get to buy it for $15. Thanks, Nintendo. It's a game where you have a bunch of NES games from the past. They exclusively picked ones like right at the beginning, 1985 titles only. I don't get that except for Zelda, but it's like this big pandering to the old 8-bit stage in the life of gaming.
Yeah.
They're like little mini. It's like they took WarioWare, the 9-volt stages, and just made them a little bit more in depth. Because they're like 20. They're like 30 seconds to a minute.
Some of them that length. Some of them are probably maybe as long as like a minute.
Some of them are about as long as
the Zelda ones are the longest. And
Some
those are like
yeah.
2 minutes sometimes.
Sometimes.
I actually wasn't here for those. What are the challenges there?
We'll get into that a little bit later, but let me do the intro. So it's like, well, I mean, we'll get to it because it's interesting because they put in a bunch of different challenges, and there's one thing that's kind of weird because when you first boot it up, you only can play the first remix, and then it unlocks the first 6 NES titles, and then you have to keep unlocking stuff.
Crazy. And
I like the kind of unlocking stage stuff, but for a game like this, I really think just having at least all of the games available at first to be able to pick from would have been nice.
And this will be my first point, but I'll explain something first. Is basically how it works is you have you basically have a couple games along the top, and then there's drop down menus, and then there's just random like little things you can do. So you kind of go down, and there'll be like challenges, like it'll be like do this Mario level without stopping, or just whatever.
One life it.
Yeah, one life it, or whatever. Jump on the Koopa in 10 seconds, or
kill
whatever.
a certain amount of enemies while invincible.
So,
The first ones are super easy.
Yeah.
and then there are also remixes, which are a little bit more interesting, and those are also kind of on the drop down, and they kind of mix and match. Kind of stuff from different Nintendo games, you know, like a remix, if you will. But then there are also, like, say, you do Legend of Zelda, and you do challenges from that game, but they're a little bit more conservative with how they use the normal the license there. Yeah. So it's kind of just like challenges, like it'd be sort of, I don't know, like in the olden days when you wanted to play a game again that you'd spent like $50 on, but it was only like 10 minutes of gameplay, and you'd be like,
you challenge yourself. To do something.
Like go through it without taking damage or whatever. Like it's basically that.
Don't use a shield or something.
Yeah, whatever. So the games that they picked suck real bad.
Well, can you list them?
I will list them from my head.
There's 12.
But they'll so there's a couple good ones. There's Mario Brothers, the original arcade game or whatever the hell that was.
Right.
Donkey Kong. Super Mario Brothers. Legend of Zelda. Donkey Kong Jr.
Right.
Donkey Kong 3.
Yep.
Wrecking Crew.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
It sucks. Ice Climbers.
Yep.
Okay.
Clue Clue Land. Balloon Fight. Excite Bike. Golf.
Oh, this is more than 12
Tennis.
now.
Yeah, there is more.
Tennis. Basketball.
No, there's no basketball. It's baseball.
Baseball.
And there's
Urban Champion.
The heck's that?
It's also a fantastic game, just like Wrecking Crew.
So let me just say this first of all. Now, you're doing an NES remix thing. If you don't have Mega Man 2 or Castlevania,
you don't have the license.
It's
to
pretty.
do stuff.
That's a fairly epic fail, but I'll give it to you. Those aren't first-party Nintendo games. Okay.
Right.
No.
Where's Punch-Out?
Where's Metroid?
Where's Kid Icarus? Where's any of the other 2 Mario games?
Yeah.
Where's a 6th game? I don't know, but whatever. Golf.
Seriously?
Golf and no Punch-Out?
Seriously?
I mean, if you had to pick a
heresy.
sports, and what it seemed like they were doing is like, the 1985 stuff. This is the 30th.
Well, it'd be fun if it were like a year kind of thing.
That is such specific nostalgia.
Right. I feel like
85 just specifically, like the first run of Nintendo games sucked.
Yeah.
Except for
they were stopgaps before third parties actually made good versions of them.
Yeah.
That's why they did a remix.
Well, I feel like they were trying to like, oh, this is the NES decade, but why not actually do things from across it? Because also another one we didn't mention, why no Kirby's Adventure?
Yeah.
The probably best NES game, maybe arguably Super Mario Brothers 3, which wasn't on there, because these were the ones at the end of the cycle. This was using the machine to its greatest extent. Because I feel like if you're going to do a homage to the 8-bit era, why not do every part of it to see it progression?
I mean, it's not 1985 remix.
Yeah.
It's NES remix.
Well, this is true.
Were they saving all the good stuff for the sequel or something?
Well, this
NES Remix 2.
Right.
which this is NES Remix 1.
Oh wait, but there's Remix 2's in this, so it'd be like Remix 3 or something.
Remix.
Well, we were talking like Super NES remix. Would be good
I
to
don't
see,
know.
But,
Okay, so I think so it's $15.
yeah.
For what it is, I think it's fine.
We played it as a group, and that actually was
yeah,
probably the better
I think-
way to do it. If you're doing this by yourself, it'd probably be
It
extremely
was fun
boring.
to pass it around and stuff, but like
Some of them were fun. Some of the remixes I thought had a nice
The remixes are actually pretty ingenious.
zany inventiveness to some of them.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones are a bit more boring, but
Yeah.
if you really like the NES, I mean, you probably like it.
If you're me, I bought it because I'm going to get it anyway.
NES is like kind of before my time. I'm like
All of us,
I'm a
I mean,
SNES kid myself. If they do a SNES remix, I'll like be all up on that.
boom.
But so I didn't really get like any nostalgia from this,
Right.
Because the NES games to me are more like interesting artifacts.
Right.
Sort of like, oh, this is like the first Zelda game or whatever.
This is how like cavemen drew
Right,
things.
and a lot of the NES games to me are kind of clunky and primitive.
No Duck Hunt.
Yeah,
what the
that,
fuck?
why not Duck Hunt?
Duck Hunt. Come
That
on.
probably would have been interesting to see on there.
Well, especially because you could actually use the pad's screen.
Right.
The fuck
It's
is
like
all-
you said, told us earlier.
But if they like, I would be interested if they ever did do a SNES remix.
I doubt they will.
This is probably
but
not because 16-bit.
Maybe
SNES.
like 25 years from now when they're like, oh,
Right.
yeah, let's.
Who would remember the SNES?
I would be interested to play it and see if it had like
Better nostalgia for you.
yeah, it would be interesting to play that and see what the NES people would feel when they were playing this and see if that would be enough to sort of
Because this seems
push
like
it over the edge and have it be really good. I don't know. It seems kind of wasted potential to me right now, to be honest.
it seems like a game of someone that would really like just 8-bit just because they like it. Like Frank, one of our friends, would love this game.
Right.
Because just like, oh, it's 8-bit. But
So
aside
if
from
you're
that,
into retro gaming, it's
Yeah.
a game for you.
right. Which is probably why I keep miscalling it like NES Retro, because that would actually make it, for it what it is, that would be a better title.
Yeah. It's retro gaming. It's retro gaming with a spin.
Right. But aside from that, I say we actually got enough content out of it. If we kept playing it, I'd say $15 is worth it.
Yeah.
But to the average person, this is super expensive. And I saw people all over the internet just like, oh, this is awful. I'm never going to buy this unless they do an eShop discount, which they probably will eventually.
Most likely.
So if you're going to get it, probably wait for that.
Yeah, if you just love 8-bit or whatever, yeah, go ahead. I wouldn't buy it myself. Like I said, SNES, yes, because
I love the SNES. It's
then
awesome.
you're just appealing to my feels. But
it's
NES
because-
remixes.
Good old SNES was, like you said, it's our generation of stuff.
Right.
Not
'Cause
the-
This is better than this.
This was something I was worried about when I first bought it, was how much content. There's actually a very good amount
There
of
is
content.
actually a good amount of content if you can stomach it all.
Because there's over like at least 20 levels per game, and then you have the remixes, which there was like 25 of those, and there was 2 sets of those. So there's at least over 200 individual
Oh yeah,
stages.
you could definitely get 15 hours out of this. It just
Right.
depends on if you are receptive to the content.
and how like good you are at it. 'cause
Like yeah, if you're like some guy who only plays like Halo and COD or whatever, then you
Well,
know.
you wouldn't own a Wii
Well,
U.
but then you don't own a Wii U.
U.
Well, if you're a person,
you wouldn't be
probably don't
watching
own a
this
Wii
show.
U.
Right.
Sorry.
I mean, I co-host a show about Nintendo, and even I don't have a Wii U. So
Dennis doesn't either.
I don't either. I barely even have a Wii.
barely,
So
barely has one.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a waste of opportunity. I'd like to see them. I
This-
think it's a neat concept. I think they could refine it into something really cool, but
This also, it does have a lot of polish because it's a Nintendo thing, but it also seems like they just push this out really quick
Yeah.
to kind of be something neat for the holidays.
I think it's just kind of a tide over. Just something like here, just eat
if there
it
was
and-
if there was like a better selection of
your thing.
games, because this could be really cool if they had a better selection of games and there was more of the remix type things where there was more inventiveness to it.
Well, that's what I thought it was, because the remixes is what everybody else said was interesting. With the actual game levels,
they were okay.
It was just kind of like, here's the singular concept, just do more of it.
If it would be sweet if they included some of the games as full games as well.
That would be nice if you unlock the entire thing. It's like,
Why
now
not just include Balloon Fight and Excite Bike? Like, who's gonna buy those on Virtual Console? Who's gonna buy Balloon Fight on Virtual Console? Me. Well, you random person.
Live studio audience attendee.
How much does Balloon Fight cost?
$5.
I paid 30 cents for it.
That's right. I did too.
That's actually not that bad.
That was their Famicom 30 year, and why didn't they give it to us free? But anyway, that's about it for this.
$5 for Balloon Fight is absolutely absurd.
Right.
I mean, it's okay. I would pay $5 for 10 games that included Balloon Fight.
Yeah, but that would be fair.
But that's about it for NES Remix. Give it a pass until it gets on sale. If you have a Wii U, give it a pass until you see it on sale, unless you really love it.
It's tight.
But yeah.
Regular show. Thanks for joining us.